with the exception every now and then, because the pumps are set to keep it at that compliance level. Last February we were a centimetre of compliance and 6 centimetres in 2 of the monitoring complaint, which we submitted to the Environment Agency. That's what we call a breach of trigger level on our permit. So I have to report myself to the Environment Agency for Schedule 5, put in an action plan, and the level of that down in 2 weeks to the compliance. And that's the only breach in the last 2 years, to be fair. So we do quite well. And we keep levels down by tankering it away. It does have to a treatment facility where the actual rubber leachate, it's got that nutrients in it. The bugs use it as a food source, you know. So yeah, the gas alongside it is a byproduct of the digestion process. Mainly methane and carbon dioxide, the 60-40 mix, which we currently convert into electricity at the gas compound on the site doorstep. A sister company, well not a sister company, but a different company, actually convert it to electricity, goes to the grid, but they have to comply with all licence conditions as part of the service level agreement that we sign up. It could work with us well. We did our older issues 5 years ago at the site, and gradually, quite quickly, they worked with us to get more wells drilled and get more extraction on. Because waste inputs and speed of inputs surrounding slow down so much, whereas a cell the same size we've got today would have lasted us a year. They're living for longer, the cells aren't getting filled quite as quickly as they used to do. So it does mean it's more water infiltration. It would mean that we're paying more to extract the water that's going in there. But it also means that we don't like to start extracting until the site's a couple of years old and until it's mature and producing methane. You always risk, so you've got a cap on the top, I should say, because you always risk drawing oxygen in, at which point you've got methane and oxygen mixing, which isn't a good combination. Methane on its own is fine, but if you put oxygen in the mix, potentially you can set it on fire, which would be like a peat fire, so you don't want to set landfill sites on fire, because you get a fire that can be there forever. So normally you don't like to drill until you've got the cap on, but because this site, the last site that we completed, the last cell, sorry, that we completed, was getting over 2 years old, it was starting to produce methane, and that's where the odours were coming from. So we had to drill, put some slight extraction on, so that we're basically capturing the excess gas that's being produced, but without over-extracting and pulling oxygen in. So that was the balancing act. That cell now is complete to finish levels. We've got some permanent cover, as we call it, and we'll be capping that with the membrane in the soils, restoration soils on top of that this June. That's the schedule that I'm doing. Things can change if they get delayed at the site later on, but it's scheduled in to start date in June. Then we'll probably drill some more wells. The guys coming up to have a look at potentially drilling some more wells in. Not fully capped it. We're not risking overdrawing it. We can't fish it. No, that's more or less the strategy, excuse me, of operating the landfill. But that's cell now. I'm talking about with the general waste in it. That's the last general waste that we'll be putting in that cell. Each riding's contract's now gone to a different company. There's no trade waste in the air that would make it viable to try and keep the cell open for general waste from a trade origin. So, both to the asbestos, that's the sole operation. Obviously, it's not enough gas associated with that, or leachate generation, or litter. So it's probably aesthetically a much better option in lots of ways.
So is that the only waste to be going in that from now on?
Now, yes.
Oh, right. Okay. Has anybody else got any more
potential
questions?
some sites as well?
Can I ask a question? The back of the site has permissive access, permissive footpath. Are you aware of that?
The footpath that runs up.
It runs down the back, it runs from ships and then through to Market Wheaton Road. And that is an important part of the connection between Budworth Rail Trail and the Market Wheaton Canal route to Market Wheaton. And this is something we've been looking at. Now that footpath there, in the summer when the green grows up, it's quite pleasant. In the winter when the green is not there, it is bleak, like those pictures. And I'm a bit disappointed about that because it's not a really very pleasant walk in the winter, but it is one that people do. Also, the connections down the end, from the public rail trail to that permissive footpath, and from the permissive footpath to the footpath which goes down to Lock Farm, that's at Stray Farm, those connections are quite poor. And I didn't know if it was possible to talk to somebody in your company about the permissive access, about how we could improve the permissive access, and how we could be confident that that access would be a long-term access and it wouldn't finish, say, in 10 years' time. Now, are these matters, have you got someone we could discuss that with?
Our estates team would probably be the people to discuss it with. Not quite sure what you're asking us to be honest at the moment. Obviously, everywhere looks a bit bleak in the winter. Can't put leaves on the trees, but... I don't think Herman's Bodymoor didn't look like that before this tip came. Well,
and I understand
that is within the screening plans. We did
but if you walk down that footpath at the back, it does look a little bleak, and it is a tip. And I understand, it's not, you can only do so much. But what we'd like to do is sort of three things really. First of all, have some talk about the length of the permissive access, see if it could become a permanent access. And secondly, the connections down the end, would it be possible for you people to help us with the Highways Department and East Round Yorkshire Council to improve the connections from the rail trail at one end and the footpath which goes to Lock Farm at the other end? And the third one is, of course, if it's possible to beautify it a bit. Now, I understand this is a discussion we couldn't have here tonight because it's been quite an involved discussion. But I would like to see if you could find someone who we could talk to and have a meeting with and see what we could do, because it's something that you people could do, which we would like. We would love to have some help on those footpaths, and it would appease the public. It make them feel a little bit better. It would be really good public relations for yourself. So I don't know what you think about that.
We wouldn't have any control over what happened beyond our site boundary.
So, excuse me, do you have a contact that Gordon could, or Ways Parish Council could write to regarding this then?
I would suggest is do write to Jack Dragonian, our estates manager.
I'll put you in touch with Jack Dragonian.
Please, because
he may want to meet. I suggest an initial discussion to give him an idea of what you have to do.
Yes, definitely.
You might drag him up here to find
it's something we would like to work with you, and I think it's something it would be good for you people to work with for the amenity of the village. And I think it's something that's possibly been forgotten in the last year or two. So I think that's relatively important.
Thank you, Gordon, very much.
Can I just say something, Karen, before I finish on that? If you go to the original planning permissions, it was all supposed to be landscaped when it was finished, wasn't it, Ernest? Do you remember?
Yes.
You've got to go back to about 99, 98, something like that. And they did put the walkway around, and you planted all sorts of trees, didn't you? But it was all supposed to be landscaped and treed up, and lots of paths running across, around.
Not before it's completed.
Oh, not before it's completed, but once it's completed, that was part of the planning permission, that it all had to be landscaped.
Well, if this man could look at that for us, that would be very helpful. I mean, this path. Right?
To what screen we put up and what tree planting was supposed to go in each stage. That had all gone on.
Sorry, I missed that.
The tree planting and the screening that went in before we were allowed to put the first piece of waste in, that screening bund went in.
Yes.
If you go down the footpath you talked about, you've got that screening bund over on your left, and that's grass to move it road every year. And on the right hand side is hedgerow. So we're a bit limited with what we can do. We've got grass screening bund on one side so that you're not looking at that, and hedgerow down the other. Not a lot really.
I think there's a lot that can be done actually.
Well, that we need.
It's something we need to explore, because it's something that is in particular, because that path now is a crucial link between the but with rail trail and the Market Canal corridor, this is a relatively important issue. I think we do need to pursue that.
I'll put you in touch with
Yeah.
Jack.
Thank you.
I've got his email.
Okay. Julie, thank you very much indeed.
Has that answered everything?
Yeah, very well.
If things come to mind, if Steve doesn't mind forwarding anything, it's to us, we'll take a chance.
Yeah, don't we?
We don't always come sign it.
No, but we know we're going to speak to it if we have any more queries. Thank
Thank
you.
you.
So, thank you. Thank you.
To the front. Oh, well.
Okay, good evening again then to the people who weren't here and I welcomed everybody before to the last parish council meeting of the current parish council. Would we like to put a time limit on public speakers? Does anyone have a comment on that?
I think the time limit always has been 5 minutes.
Oh, it has to be
But I
five
can
minutes.
remember.
Okay. Don't we have any other suggestions on a limit to public speaking?
Well, there is a set.
Yeah.
Do we want to have a vote on?
Well,
No,
if
in
it's
agreement with 5 minutes?
then says it's in place.
That's all I always thought, that it was set in the rules.
Right. Does it say anywhere where the public speaker should stand then?
No.
Do we want to say or suggest anywhere where the person speaking stands?
Yes, it's on first window from the public area.
Okay, right. Very good. Is everybody in agreement with that?
I think Steve can find out, can you? Can you find that out for sure?
There's nothing in the standing orders. You can make that as an ongoing thing.
We need to make a new standing order with.
If you feel it's sufficiently needed, yeah, or you can just decide.
Have you a book of rules, Steve, with
I've got the standing.
all the rules of the parish council in?
I've got the standing orders of this parish council, yeah, and it doesn't talk about where the public speaker should stand.
No.
That's something you can make your mind up, obviously.
And 5 minutes as well, does it have that in, Steve?
No.
I don't recall seeing that in the.
Nothing in the standing orders.
I'm sure Ernest is right.
Well, I think if you go to a meeting at the East Ride and they say a certain time, there's some people who go on forever. And you'll be sat there all night.
Yeah.
Well, if people can't say what they've got to say in 5 minutes, well, hard luck.
Okay, 5 minutes then. So I'd like to welcome Alex then. Are you ready to speak?
Yes,
Thank you very much.
always ready.
5 minutes.
I'm always ready to speak, but we will look at the standing orders with regards to this. Because you're making changes before the parish council meeting, and it's not in the agenda. Then we'll look at the standing orders. Because there's nothing in the standing orders for time.
Well, according to what there is.
No, there isn't.
So if you have a look.
He mentioned East Riding, yeah, I'll look. He mentioned East Riding Yorkshire Council. East Riding Yorkshire Council, this is the parish council meeting. And East Riding Yorkshire Council, sometimes you only get 3 minutes. Depending on what you're talking on, you can get 5 minutes.
Can we propose, Mike?
This parish council can make a decision on what it feels. Yes, of course it can.
Or do we want to make a proposal before we start? Can we legally do that?
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, I would propose public speakers allowed 5 minutes.
Okay.
To the rest of the council.
I'll second.
From the pulpit. Yeah.
Is that seconded by?
I'll second that.
Okay, thank you. 5 minutes in the
That
public
makes it
speaking
that
area.
Yeah?
Thank you.
Thank you. Well, we did say, sorry, that from the public area.
Let's have a vote now. Let's have a vote now.
Yeah, the vote.
On the public area, yeah.
You need to go down there.
Why?
So that's what we just agreed on.
That was the time.
No, answer to speak from the public area.
So all speakers tonight has to sit in the public area.
From the pulpit.
Speak from the public area. Every person in this room speaks from the public area.
No, the
Public.
during public meeting, the public will speak from the public area.
Not a minute later.
not visitors or anything else that we've been invited to. We can ask them to speak wherever we want.
Parish councillors represent every one of the residents, represent the residents.
Oh, no.
I don't care. It's my speech. So if you want to start again, and if you want to shrug your shoulders on that, well, this is correct. You're elected. And this is for the camera, for the people that actually know what parish councils are about because they don't come. And taxpayers of the village. Councillors do not represent their own neighbours, friends of those that were voted for them only. Parish council have responsibilities. Parish council own streetlights, grass areas, new cemetery. It can also give grants to groups in the village. A precept of £31,000 paid by the residents help to maintain taxpayers' assets. This is managed by parish council. Don't see anything wrong with that. How was the precepts managed? Got to go back to 2008. I'm sorry, but in 2008 it was decided to check the areas of the village. Steve did this, maintained by the parish council, and reduce the maintenance of the areas that were not the responsibility of the parish council to save expenditure. It was a good idea at the time. Many areas were handed back to the owners of land and the cost of the precepts was reduced. Part of that cost-cutting exercise, it was decided to sell 2 large areas of Moor End for £1 to each riding. This cost close to £3,000 with fees and solicitors. At the same time, it was decided to purchase Old Glee for £1. This also cost close to £3,000 fees, solicitors. Total £6,000 to give away land and purchase land, a similar size area of land. At the present rate of the parish handyman cutting the grass in Old Glee, estimated cost £200 a year, Steve could confirm that. It takes 30 years to pay that back, so to make savings. This does not account for the extra cost to manage the trees on the land in Old Glee. So much for actively trying to save expense. Precepts, I believe, in mismanagement at that time. Grass cutting only, let's talk grass cutting. What did the parish council have left to maintain in the village? The green, Old Glee, new cemetery. The cost to maintain these areas was £1,278 paid to a contractor. And the contractor carried out works, other works, seats, litter bins and such. He put estimated costs in for that. These costs have gone up, or will have gone up over the last few years. I do not believe to the extent that it's costing for the same maintenance now. Today, the parish council employ 2 handymen. Purchase equipment, maintain equipment, pay insurance, rent, storage facilities, purchase materials, the list goes on. Wages alone, £7,355 this year. And expenses, £1,962. With all the costs, that will be about to about £13,000 to £15,000 a year for the handymen. 50% of the annual precepts. This is a vast difference to paying a contractor. The parish council is now a contractor at a cost that is escalating out of control. So what's new? 13 flower beds. They look really good. A few hanging baskets and some flags, all necessary to brighten up the village, and a good job, compliments all round. But it's cost £2,000, plus about another £2 to maintain them a year. Why is the cost so high? Maintaining grounds that are owned by the church, who have maintained their own churchyard since the 13th century, and also the village hall play area. These sites are owned by groups that pay no business tax and contribute nothing to the parish council. Grant tables given to the church and the village hall play area, 1,500 to the church and 600 to the village hall, 2,100. There's no budgeting of costs incurred for the parish council handyman, no concepts of costs to replace equipment, management of precepts is essential. So I ask this, because it's on the agenda, I ask that the residents of Beacon View are rewarded for their taxation contributions that help to pay the parish precepts. With a little bit of help to maintain their gardens and the street itself, this will enhance the amenity of the area and improve the chance of the village in the bloom maybe in the future. The residents do pay the wages of the village handyman and also the cost of the machinery and materials. Therefore, if the same can be given free of charge to non-taxpayers, the request must be valid. Isn't it time the parish council looked at the management of the parish precepts more closely? Thank you.
Thank you, Alex. Do we have any apologies?
Yeah, we have apologies from Peter and Bethany.
Okay. Minutes of the last parish council meeting dated the 18th of March. Has anybody read them and was anybody have any comments? Are we okay to formally approve them then?
Okay. Thank you for that.
Okay, does anybody have any declaration of interest?
Yeah.
You too? Plan?
Yeah. Maybe John.
To the job? Okay.
This is the Angus Dobson.
Is it
Yeah.
Village Hall? Village Hall. Okay. If there's a pecuniary interest, do you have to leave the room? Do you know when to leave?
I am. You know.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Okay.
Sorry, so Mike's is a pecuniary
Yeah,
interest.
mine's
Sim's
not.
isn't. Right, sorry.
I have an interest in the planet. It's a non-pecuniary interest.
Okay.
I think also I have an interest, we may have an interest, and it's something to consider. The fact that there's a planning issue on tonight at Lansbury, that one, and the parish council rent land off, or rent the building off Lansbury. So, you know, I can also make a non-pecuniary declaration of interest on that one, because it is a very small rent and it is a favour to us. I just think that if anybody else wants to do that, that's...
Yeah, I think we should all do that.
We both.
It won't affect the discussion, but it just acknowledges that that's the situation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, does that mean that we can't discuss it?
Yeah, we just say we acknowledge that situation.
Okay. So the parish council have a pecuniary interest in that plan?
We acknowledge that we have
Sorry. Yeah. Okay then. Matters arising. I have a letter to read out from Peter Hastings. I would like to answer the accusations made by Mr. Alec Wilde at the March held following our parish council meeting about what the council did regarding East Riding's decision to add a further 55 houses on Sanders Lane to their development plan. When the clerk received the information, he asked me what I thought should be done. I thought that all residents immediately affected by them should be informed. At my request, the clerk drafted a letter. I read the draft and all councillors were asked for their comments. It was then delivered to those residents involved. Mr. Wilde thinks that all residents of Homer's Follimore should have been informed, and that what I or we have done is wrong. If Mr. Wilde is sure that I have done wrong, he should report me to the Standards Board immediately. But if it is proved that I have not committed any wrongdoing, I expect full public apology. Also, regarding an email sent by Councillor Perkis, I did not bring up the matter of the Village Hall Committee minutes at the March Parish Council meeting, and if my memory serves me correctly, I did not ask for them to be altered. But at another councillor's suggestion, agreed that a slight change in the minutes would better explain my visit as a private individual. I would also suggest that if Councillor Perkis feels that what was said at the March meeting warrants it, he should report me to the Standards Board also.
Could I just add to that, please? Because I was commented on for both. I was tied with the same bush by Ian's letter about the village hall This was 2 people going to help a volunteer group as individuals, and that's it, full stop. I don't understand what's being made of it. There was nothing more than that. And I was also accused of acting illegally by Alec Weil. I totally refute that, and I would like the parish council to look into it, please, and examine that and make a public statement about that. Thank you.
Thank you. Public session March meeting the local plan.
It was brought up at the March meeting by Alec Weil, and you ought to comment on what was said, really. He deserves that, he's made his comments.
Okay, does anybody want to comment on what Alec spoke about last meeting?
Can't remember.
Somebody got a reply for Alec?
I think on that one, and what Peter said in his letter there, I think we did talk about it, and I think we did talk around the matter, and we sort of got to the bottom of it, really, didn't we? That the local plan, and we are going to put something in the grapevine, and we're going to make sure everybody gets to see that, encouraging the villagers to comment. And if somebody thought it was unwise to do one thing or to do another thing, we've talked it out, so I don't think we should go any further with it.
No, so no further comments then.
I think we've talked about it, haven't we?
I will minute the fact that the clerk was accused of being illegal and asked that the parish council look into that. So that needs to be at some point handled by the parish council. I would suggest that you form a committee to look into it and report back to the parish council on it.
Do we do that now then?
You can do that at the next meeting. That's fine.
Is that not best handled by the next council? Because at the moment you're all assuming you're going to be set around the table in the next parish council. We have the general election for town, do we not?
That's right, yeah.
There is not going to be an election. It's an uncontested election. So the people that have put their names forward will be parish council. I haven't got the list yet, but there
Okay.
are 13 good men and 2.
Well, obviously we will have, you know, it will be slightly different.
But majority.
The majority of us are here. But obviously we would sort of need a bit of pointing in the right direction, I think, to see how we go about that. You know, some of
I'll
the
ask Beverly to give you advice on
probably
what to
don't
do.
know how this is
Yeah.
If any new parish council, well, there will be some new parish councils come on, they want to know all about it before they
In
can
fact, they're probably best placed to see on
discuss it
that.
or read the minutes through.
So at least it's not a complaint about you, not as an employee. Sorry, I'm talking across.
Okay, so do we approach Beverly then?
Shall I ask Beverly to get in touch with, well, Peter and whoever ends up as chair? Sorry, I shouldn't make assumptions.
Yeah.
Whoever's made chairman at the May meeting to discuss how that can be done, and they can give advice, because obviously I don't want to be involved in giving advice or anything.
No. Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you. Public session, March meeting, BPG maintenance. So, does anyone have any comments about Alex? BPG maintenance request.
Have the residents been approached about this? Would they be happy for anybody to walk into the front gardens and cut the grass? I mean, is it something that we would look at? I mean, I can't think that we could afford to maintain everybody's gardens because everybody else would be asking for the same thing. If they can view, we're going to have theirs cut. You would, yeah.
Yeah, well, I think we've dealt with this complaint for long enough, and the council have given the reasons, they took on the extra areas, so I think it should be left alone now, and let's move on.
Yeah, we made a decision at the time.
And Alec was sat at the table when those decisions were made. He was part of the parish council.
Yeah.
No, I wasn't. Sorry, Chair, but I wasn't.
It's a long time ago.
I wasn't at the table then.
You
I'd resigned previous. I'd resigned already.
Well, the council have explained and justified the reasons, so I propose we know what we're getting at.
Okay. Somebody want to second that proposal?
Yes.
Right.
Everybody happy with it?
Everybody happy with that?
Yeah.
One, two, three, four, five.
So we'll move on. Thank you very much. Right, Village Hall email sent to Carol King, 20th of March 2015.
Yeah, this related to all sorts of things. I've got answers from the Village Hall for that email. Shall I go through it as it is, because it'll bring up different issues. The first point for the email that was sent, I was asking for copies of inspections over the last year, particularly the external inspection, so I can put it in the file. And the external inspection is, as it says, external, and it's a requirement that it's done by somebody who's not involved in the Village Hall at all. And the answer back is that Bethany did inspections in May 2014, which she recorded, and I have got a copy of that. It's not very full. However, after that, she did carry out inspections but didn't keep a written record. Bowden-S also did inspections, but again did not keep a written record. And the last external inspection was carried out on the 10th of July 2013 by the Play Inspection Company Limited, and I've got a copy of that. And I've asked them to quote for another inspection, which they could complete in about 6 to 8 weeks, and the Village Hall will pay for this. The last inspection cost £78. The inspection goes through in great details, it's 30-odd pages. And the summary is that of the risks, there are 12 very low, 32 low, and nil moderate, nil high, and nil very high. So nothing basically was found that they saw as being majorly important. I suggested when I spoke to Carol that perhaps an external inspection should be done, because it is a bit overdue, and it's like a line in the sand for when the parish council take it over. So I would recommend to the parish council, if I may, that happens, and that either the parish council organise an inspection or they ask the Village Hall to use this company they used the last time.
Okay, do we recommend that, does everybody agree that we recommend an external inspection?
Especially if Village Hall's going to pay for it.
Yeah.
Yeah? Is that
Okay, does everybody agree with that? Yeah.
And I'll get the Village Hall to organise it and then give us a copy of it. Okay, thank you for that. The next thing was the Parish Council have been asked to look at provision of street lights, is what I wrote to them about. And they basically said the Village Hall Committee is happy for this to be investigated and for the process of consultation to start. And this is the footpath between Beacon View and the Village Hall. And I think Madge brought it up, or maybe Anne, I can't remember, saying that people felt vulnerable in the winter. The guy from the East Riding street lighting went down today, had a look, and of course you might be able to see marks on the red line. Those are the football floodlights that are there. But I've since spoken to Bowden-S about it, and he said that the supply couldn't be used for street light along there, because it's, and I don't know the right ampage voltage, it's much different to what we need for street lights. So the East Riding guy said that he could run another cable, an armed cable, from a point somewhere here that they could dig into the electric and bring a cable in the ground, trench it into the ground, and they could either use the existing posts, if the football club are happy with that, or new posts, new street lights. And that would then light up that area, and it could be put on a timing switch and so on. His approximate costing, and I wouldn't hold him to it, I just wanted an idea from him, was about £6,000 to put in everything. That includes the street lighting columns. So I guess less the columns, it would be less than that. And if the parish council wish, I can investigate that. I can get some proper estimates, and I can start to look at grants. Excuse me, sorry.
What was the footballers think about using the process? Will it make any difference, will it?
No. So not going to the moment.
No.
Pretty substantial.
So that would surely bring the cost down quite.
Yeah.
Yeah, expect
quite,
it.
yeah.
Okay, so we
So
would
I'll
like,
go forward with that.
yeah,
Yeah, it would be good to get on with it, and if we do,
Carries on and
get
cost.
going.
Well, that would be something that would need to be discussed. It would probably go on to the parish council service level agreement, because but I didn't explore that with him. I was basically just wanting to get an idea of cost and if it was a feasible thing. I wouldn't think the cost would be major, but I can get all that information together and present it as a proper package now, if you wish me to go ahead. The next point on the email was this business of Peter and I attending the village hall meeting as chairman and clerk, and I put, could it be noted that we attended as individuals, and the comment back is, as stated earlier, the email from yourself and the email from Councillor Perkis were read out at the village hall committee meeting, the comments were noted and the emails will be filed within the minutes. So that, by the sound of it, is closed from what they're doing. And the other thing was the parish council had offered a letter of support for when they want to go ahead with grant applications. I said thank you for that, we'll let you know when it's needed. And the other thing was about the disabled access grant, and they said thank you, yeah, put it on hold, they've got a temporary arrangement in place, so they don't need the grant for this financial year that we just started. That's it, thank you.
what happens to that then? Have you applied for the money, and is it just sort of sitting somewhere there?
No, this is the grant application from then into the parish council, which I'll be putting to the new parish council in May. If you remember, I put the applications in May,
So it's
once the...
directly from us then?
Yeah, but they're saying thank you, but no thank you, no, they don't need that money.
That's good. So that's everything from Carol.
That's all from that email,
Right.
yeah.
Parish Council website, do you have any update on that?
Yeah, I've got a note from Bethany. I now have access to the website and I've started to update it. I'm only putting the barest information in there at the moment. It is easy to update, and I'll get all of the minutes and the grapevines on the past year put on there, ready for the next parish council. Excuse me, sorry, I've got a bit of a nasty cough, as you'll have noticed. I apologise for that. I'm happy to continue to maintain things and can change any or all of what I've already written. And so, if you log into hosmparishcouncil.eastriding.gov.uk, that will give you the website according to Bethany. And if you're happy, then she will maintain it in the future, even though she's not going to be a parish council.
Are we happy for Bethany to carry on maintaining the website if she's set it up and she knows what's happening with it? What, is she just going to post the minutes on it?
She will do as requested, yeah.
Yes, any agendas?
Don't mean to sound ungrateful, but as long as she only puts on what we
yes.
tell us for,
Yeah,
we don't want anything, it has to be our decision
yeah.
as a council.
Yeah, there's
I think it would
also
be
there's all that stuff about the connection between parish council and the history people. There's a connection there. I don't know how you do that, but
A link.
the link, yeah. So that they need to work together as well, don't they?
Well, sure, if it's only a link, it would only take you to your website if it's just a link.
Well, because what's his name? Neil has got that one going. So they do need to just make sure they do work together, don't they? Has he got it going yet?
No, that's not going yet, no. No, it's hoping later on in the year it will be.
Okay, but I think that connection's important anyway.
Yeah,
So
definitely.
they should definitely talk together about that.
Would
Yeah.
the council also be happy if I sent the links to the videos that have been taken and are now in the public domain? She could post those up, and that's open and transparent as
I would have
well.
thought so if the minutes are already on there, yeah. Does everybody agree that video should be on there?
It's out there.
Yeah, that's right, it's not,
Yeah.
nothing to hide. Okay, that's that.
I'll write
So
to
what we're
Bethany.
doing, write a letter to Bethany, sort of saying what we agree for her, that, you know, she just puts on things
She
that I
will.
request.
Basically download stuff that I give her, or the clerk gives her,
Yeah,
essentially, yeah.
so it's all in writing.
But she will, as been discussed, links, there are links to all sorts of the school website, the surgery, etc., etc.
Yeah.
And she'll maintain those links, but that's only a link, it's not information.
That's right, yeah.
It's a third party link.
Yeah.
Okay.
The wind turbine community funds.
Yeah, as requested, I wrote to Richard Miller and Peter Middlewood. Parish Council has asked me to write to you following a review of wind turbines in the parish. As you know, turbine operators have the option to donate a community fund based on the turbine output. Commercial wind farms tend to make a contribution a year after output commences. Should you wish to provide a community fund, the Parish Council would be pleased to offer support in terms of supplying information on village groups and their needs. The Parish Council is aware that any community fund is a voluntary exercise and in no way is making assumptions, it merely is offering support if needed. And I sent those after the last meeting. I've not heard back from either of them.
No reply from either?
No, I haven't. No.
Can I just say something on that, Steve? I was actually talking to somebody about this issue of people promising things, you know, in a very stand-up just before their planning application before the Parish Council, and they promise things. And this is a dangerous area, and I think the Parish Council will just check this out with Beverley or somewhere, because if they say, yes, I'm going to give £1,000 to the school every year, they get the planning permission and then they don't, there's nothing we can do. So we must not be influenced by any promises anybody makes at all, unless they're written into the planning application, the planning permission itself. So we could ask East Riding to say, but this £1,000 a year, put it in the planning permission.
I think the only problem you've got there is you've got people going to go back to a planning application. You can't get people would then look at think they're buying their planning application.
Well, this is the trouble. So I think it's an area that I think that maybe the Parish Council just ought to, at some point to talk about.
Could the Parish Council and Beverley couldn't do that because any fund is a voluntary fund. It's not a mandatory thing. The East Riding can't say you get planning if you.
Well, we've got to be careful that we don't get influenced by these promises, and then they don't materialise. That's all I'm saying. I felt that maybe we should get some.
We don't ask them to make promises. They volunteer the promise.
Referring back to Richard Miller's application, he did start promising money here and there.
He was going to rebuild the school.
Yeah.
All we need is a bit of you remember, don't be influenced by it then.
That is ever changed.
Is it for the Parish Council to actually say, would you be willing? Is it really isn't up to us to ask that?
It's just a voluntary.
Just a state.
We can give them the information, but that's as far as we can do.
You just rely on their goodwill. So
The fact we're talking about it now is really what we need to do, just have a quick word about it, so that we understand we should not be influenced by any promises that people make.
well, we weren't because then it looks like bribery, doesn't it?
Yeah,
You know,
I
we
mean,
weren't influenced by
we
these
just be
promises.
careful. We're very, it's a bit like giving a pecuniary interest, declaration of interest, isn't it? Something akin to that.
No,
I don't know what we should do about it, but
I
it's
don't
something
know.
I think that we should be aware of in the future.
Yeah.
I was disappointed
I
about
don't
that
think
one.
if there's anything we can do about it. We can just take people's offers like that and just take it with a like a pinch of salt. It might happen, it might not happen.
Yeah, and hope that
And if it doesn't happen, I don't think we can do
Yes.
anything about it.
Yes, that's what we're right.
Okay. Right, the movement of the memorial to Tom Cooper has been costed at approximately £500.
Yes, I've spoken to the York Diocese and also I met with somebody from Rotherham's and showed him the memorial and explained the requirement, and the addition of the two costs would be about £500. However, since today I just had an email from the diocese. Basically it's asking questions. It's saying if the memorial was erected by the Wargates Commission, that puts a different light on it, and it talks about other things, and it